This is Twit.
We are ripping out of here, of course, to do the pine board project. Now, again, I have to warn everybody, we're dealing with high voltage. So just be a little careful and make sure that you do everything proper. I want to do a quick review of the power supply. I have gotten so many, I got some phone calls. I've talked to them on the air, and of course, emails are just outrageous, a number of them. But a lot of people have built things and got it all going, and that's good. But we want to review a couple of things. This is the parts list. If you haven't gotten that all going yet, why, there you are. That's the parts list for the power supply. And you can do a screenshot or copy it down here. I would do a screenshot and do a replay. And that is the proper top power supply. You remember when we started originally, I only had one filter. And as you learned from George, and if you missed this, not only for the project here, but just all in general, you need to go back a couple of weeks and check that out. It is amazing what George did to teach you what these things do right here. And you have them in every radio, every power supply. And that filters it. Well, I didn't know what the load was going to be. I told you that in the beginning, but we ended up doing one more step, which really made things a lot cleaner, and it's beautiful. I can't believe how good it really does work. The power supply is wonderful. But there's the diagram laid out for you. This is the way that it will be laid out on the pine board. That's why we do pine board, because when you look down on your pine board, that's what you're going to see. So there you are. And look at Gene. Oh, boy. Gene is the guy that's doing all these wonderful graphics. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Gene. And that's his power supply. And that was done before I had room for it. It was there. Now his power supply has the third filter in it. So now we're going to head off and we're going to work on the preamp. The first thing you want to do is find a piece of pine board, plywood. If you, I was really lucky. This is 11 ply, finished plywood that was just kicking around. It was part of a shipment that came in that Sarah had bought a chest, and they packed it on there. And then what I do with that, this is a stuff called Watco. It's Danish oil. I took a paper towel, dabbed a little on it, and that gave me a nice finish. You don't have to do that, but it was just kind of nice to do that. So here we go with the preamp. We've got the power supply under tow, and there is the preamp. And all of the parts and stuff for it, we'll show you that here in a minute. This is all correct. It really works great. Don't have time to go through it tonight, but we'll do it in weeks to come, but we want to get you building a little bit. And here are the parts for the preamp. So check this out. Do a screenshot. There they are. That's all the parts. And what we're doing next is we're making a complete list of all the parts for the entire project and where you can buy them. And everything is available from Antique Electronic Supply. Oh, man, they got everything. And guys will say, well, you can't get those old parts. Oh, yes, you can. So don't give up on that part. It's easy to get parts today. And we'll give you a list here in just a second. Here's how I started the preamp. First of all, you need a ground path system. And there's the ground path system. And what we're talking about there, this happens to be number 14 copper wire. I pulled it out of the middle of a piece of Romex. And there are all the strips available, solder strips available from Antique Radio Supply. And when you get that all finished, then you put things together such as this. This is what I did to my, and this really works great. This is the tube socket in the bottom of it. And I went ahead and I put all the wires that I needed. And all of the capacitors, resistors, so on. These are the things that do actually connect to the tube. I went ahead and did them. There's a lead that's going to go to the potentiometer volume control. This is a straight piece of wire that's going to go to ground. This is to the input. And when you follow the schematic, you'll see all of these. You'll see I've got a couple blocked out because we made it a couple of changes. And this is the final of it. And then you build it. And this is the first part of building that. Let's go back here so you can see this again so you understand. There's the layout of the ground path. And there it is. And that way you can see how it's all put together. And here's the final. This is a working preamp. And boy, does it work good. I am amazed. I had it going today here, and some of the guys in the shop, we're talking about guys that have never played with tubes, and they were amazed. The quality of that with just a few parts really works great. And thanks to all of you that sent me purple chicken head knobs. I thought that was just the coolest. I got a bunch of them now. But no, it's just so much fun. But I went through this pretty fast for you, but it's all there. You can go back and do screenshots and replay. But the main thing about the preamplifier is to get started with the board and do your ground path. Here again are all of the parts for the preamplifier. We're going to use this preamp for a lot of things. I got a couple of things. We're going to build a PA amplifier, and I've got an intercom plan. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do once you have a preamp going. So that's pretty much where we are. And I have to tell you in closing, there's a wonderful thing that happened. And thanks to Gene, W4IQN, he has done some great things with all these graphics, and all of them are now on our site. Just go to heilsound.com and to the ham radio site, all the way to the bottom of the page, you'll find all of the diagrams and really nice ones. You'll find all the parts list, and thank you, Brian. I owe you for this one. Brian went out and it took just the pieces for the past 6 shows or whatever, and you can see just the little 10-minute segments and do the whole thing. And it's all done for you. You don't have to page through all of the other parts of the show. It's just the pine board. Heilsound.com down at the bottom. So let me know. Send me pictures. I want to hear from you. And also, don't forget... we're dealing with high power. So K9 MIT gave us the idea, and along with that was KA7 TPH. You got to have your chipstick. And if you missed that, well, you'll see it in one of the replays. But connect that little baby to ground, and when you turn the power supply off, short it to ground. You really don't have to do that now, because when we get it all hooked up, we've got the final and the preamp. That'll draw some current, and with the filtering the way I have it, it pretty much bleeds it off in about 3 or 4 seconds. So that's pretty much it, what we have here. I'm so happy that we were able to bring you this tonight because of stupid weather. And in closing, here are the parts. Again, please remember that you can get all of these parts from these guys. There's the list. But the top of the list is Antique Electronic Supply. Vacuumtubes.com. I know they carry some tubes, but you're going to find the best deal, and that's where I get all my tubes. Vacuumtubes.com. All of the parts come from Antique Electronic Supply, and crystals come from Mr. Carling, AF4K. And Radio Days has parts, Gateway Electronics, so there you are. And all of this is on our site now. We'll have it all on there. The Tonight Show in a couple of days. Thanks, Brian. So thanks to everybody. And in the chat room, somebody said, this is a PR30. It's the same microphone that George has, only George's is silver champagne. This was just an old funky black one.